Okay, I'll interview you. You tell me all about yourself. Where was you born?
Where was I born?
Yeah.
Stokes County.
Stokes County. What was your parents' name?
Give name of surnames.
Yeah, give me anything. Just tell me about yourself.
My daddy was named Joseph Coon. And my mother was Julie Coon.
Did you live in Stokes County till how long? When did you move to Greensboro?
Oh, I was married and had all my children when I moved to Greensboro.
Oh, so you stayed in Stokes County.
Bill was about 4 years old when we moved down here.
Tell me some things to ask Grandma Kitty. I'm not good at interviewing.
What's your children's names?
You want to know my children's name?
Yeah.
Well, was I started the oldest one and go down the line?
That sounds good.
I might not be able to think of the names. Hazel, May, Warner, and C.H. Laws, and Dillman Laws, Raymond Laws. Now that Raymond's dead, if you don't matter, does it?
No, just put it right on there for the tape.
And Pat Beck.
Pansy Roberta.
Yeah.
That's Roberta Laws back.
Pansy Roberta Laws. I mean,
Beck, no.
Beck. And that goes down to Raymond
Grady.
Grady McCoy Laws, and Billy Clayton Laws. That's all.
What part of Stokes County was you born in? Like, was there a town around there?
Yeah,
Particular town?
technical. Well, I didn't live in the town, but I lived right close to Pinnacle in Pilot Mountain.
And did your brother still live there? Don't you have a brother?
Yeah, he lived there. We was raised there.
And that's John, right? He still lives up in Stokes County.
How old's he?
Oh, 96.
How old are you?
94.
94.
Now I'm getting up there, ain't I?
Yeah, and I'm 34. I'm getting up there too.
Well, the preacher come to see us, me and Hazel, one evening. We was out sitting out in the yard. He come and he sat there and talked. He knew I wasn't able to go to church, but he talked a good long time, and he asked me, he says, how old are you? I told him. And he says, well, you might live to be 100. I says, I might do it. Won't have to live too much
That's
longer.
right.
Well, I could live over 100.
That's right. Many have. That's the
Yeah,
truth.
there's plenty of them.
Today people live a lot longer than they used to.
I know it.
Good doctor care, I guess. And good food and good heat and everything else. You don't have to worry about catching pneumonia so often.
I reckon so.
Yes, it's better.
Now, I said enough.
I don't know. Let me see if there's something else I'm going to ask you about.
Derek, come in today.
Trying to think what else I can ask you about.
We just asked Grandpa, I think when the first time he ever saw a car or a TV.
Okay, well you ask him, Kenny.
That's the first time she ever
You
read
get
the
that.
Bible.
When was the first time that you ever rode in a car? Do you remember what kind it was or when it was? Or?
No, cars wasn't plentiful then. And my mother wanted to go to Greensboro to see a doctor. And we had to go on the train. And so we caught the train and we went down to King, and my Uncle Tice Coon was there, and we spent the night at Uncle Tice's. And then went on down to Greensboro. And my mother see the doctor, well, she had to wait. She didn't see the doctor when we first got there. We had to wait for him. Well, the cars, there wasn't many people then. And the cars, they'd run by a little bit. And my Uncle Tice Coon, that was my daddy's brother, he went with us. And he said to us, he said, I'm going to get you one of them cars and take you all for a ride. My mother says, no, I can't ride in one of them things. And, I wanted to ride in funny, 'cause I wanted to go back home and tell him that I had rode in the car. And he kept on talking, and directly he says, "Now I'm gonna stop that car and let you get in it." And so he stopped, and we got in it. And it was kind of windy, and I had on my hat, and we got to going, you know, a car runs fast. And he got going pretty fast, and my mother grabbed her hat, and she's holding it like this with mine to load off. And the man had to stop and go back and get my hat. And my mother kept saying, "I can't get my breath, I can't get my breath." She says, "I'm going to tell him to stop here, and I'll wait for y'all to come back." And I said, "No, well, ain't no telling where he'll go." I said, "He may not come back by here." And she didn't tell him that, and she kept on in the car, but she held that hat. And we didn't go back that way. We went around another way and come back. Well, I had something to tell them at home then, that I had rode in the
I
home.
bet so.
We used to, the first ones I ever seen, Will McGee's, the other way you know him, he made them. And he made one for himself. And we could hear it over there, and him running it. I expect he lived about 2 or 3 miles from us, but we could hear him crank it up and hear it running. And every time we could hear that car, I don't know of any others that was around there, but I reckon that was all the one, because whenever we could hear him crank that car up, we'd all run out in the yard and stand in the yard and wait for it to come by our house so we could see it. Now is that enough?
Do you remember the first time you ever saw radio or heard radio or television set?
Yes, let's see. I believe Raymond, no, Dillman was my baby. And we lived that close to a man named Dalton Michaels. And he got one of them. And so one night, my husband told me, he says, "Let's go up there and hear that radio." We went up there and listened at that radio play. We stayed up there, I expect an hour or more listening to that. And that's the first thing I ever seen.
What did it play? Was it music or was it,
I don't know what it played. I can't remember that.
Radio shows? Or?
well, I don't know. I can remember as a child on Saturday night, the whole crowd, and some of us kids, we'd get together and go to somebody's house that had a radio and listen to the Grand Ole Opry. That was a very popular thing to do.
That was also the Shadow and all for those network shows. Well, let's see. We're doing pretty good here.
Well,
TV, where's the first TV? One we bought over on Pearson Street. I remember that. Had you ever seen television before we bought that one on Pearson Street?
I don't know whether I had or not.
well, tell me what your Christmas used to be like before radio and television and everybody running around their cars.
I got 7 sticks of peppermint candy.
7 sticks of peppermint candy.
That's
Well,
what I got.
That beats Kenny's grandpa. What'd he say? He'd get an orange.
You see if you got an apple and orange, you're tickled with it.
Lord, I wish we could.
Well, it was just another.
These children are spoiled, Grandma.
We'd hang our stocking up, and we used 7 sticks of peppermint candy in each stocking. I reckon them stockings wasn't too dirty. We didn't care. We eat that candy.
Did you have Christmas trees?
No.
You didn't decorate that Christmas tree?
No, we didn't have no Christmas tree. Didn't have nothing, no decoration. Just Christmas, and that is all there was to it.
When did it start changing? Like when did people get crazy like they are now?
I don't know.
We had Christmas trees when I was a child,
Yeah.
and I'm 60.
Well, I imagine some, I mean, they go back a long way. I guess just some people did, some people didn't.
Well, I don't know, some people might have had decoration and had something going on like that then, but we didn't. We was poor folks. We couldn't afford nothing.
Well, that's what Kenny's grandma told us. They didn't have no closets in their house. They had a nail. Because you had 2 sets of clothes. You wore one, you hung the other one on the nail.
He said it didn't matter because you weren't going nowhere anyway.
Yeah, I can remember hanging my clothes on a nail, and didn't take many nails to hold them.
Well, you had beds for everybody to sleep in, maybe 3 on a bed. And you had a stove to cook on, a table to eat at, and we didn't have enough chairs, so Daddy built a bench. Go down the back of the table, 4 people sat on. What they called a safe, just a cabinet like stick your dishes in. That was it.
Simpler time, wasn't it? People just
Maybe a couple of bureaus.
gone wild these days, haven't they?
And we just, we didn't have no furniture or much. We had beds and things that we had the house, a stove, and they had a kitchen and a table to eat on and a stove. And so once we was there eating in the kitchen, and Holman, he was just a boy, like about his size, and he got up and grabbed hold of the top of the safe and pulled it over. And it fell over there and just broke my dishes all up. It broke about all I had too.
Oh boy, but he's in trouble, wasn't he?
Well, I don't remember. He was sickly, awful sickly then, and the doctor said just let him have his way. And I didn't whip him much back then. And I didn't whip him till he was nearly grown. And he got so rowdy and sassy till one day, I forgot what he done, but anyhow, he done something. And I says, I'm gonna whip this child if he dies while I'm whipping him. And I did. I whipped him, but he didn't die. And I went to whipping him then. And I know, I forgot now what him and Hazel was doing, and they got into it and got to fighting. And I whipped Hazel, and I hadn't been a whipping woman, but I said, now I'm gonna whip him. He needs it too. Hazel, she's sitting there crying. And he crawled under the bed. And I was trying to get him out from under the bed. And my husband was sitting there just saying nothing. And I just kept trying to get him out. And he's just stayed under there. Said, no, you hooked me. And finally, Roscoe said, just let him come out. He's suffered enough. I says, I whipped Hazel, and now I wouldn't be right to not whip him. And Hazel says, I don't care, don't you whip him. And I let him go.
Well, do you remember your grandparents?
Let's see, I remember one.
Did they did live by y'all in Stokes County? Or?
Yeah, they died. They died when I was a baby. My mother and my grandmother Warden, they were wardens. My grandmother Warden and my granddaddy both died before I was born. And then my grandma Coon, I was just a baby when he died. But Granny Coon, she lived till I was about 19 years old.
They were all up in Stokes County?
Mm-hmm.
He was from England, wasn't he?
He was a Englishman. He came
Who
from
was?
my Joe Coon,
Joe Coon.
And
So was he
No.
born in England or in this country?
no, his daddy Jacob Coon was his daddy, and he married a woman. He did live in England, and he married a woman, and they didn't get along too well. And he'd give her a whipping once in a while. And so one time he whipped her and knocked her out. She's laying there on the floor, and he went on out to a store and stayed there a long time. He thought he had killed her. And after a while he went back home, and she had got up. And she said, Jakey, what if you'd kill me? He says, I don't never him to hit you again. Says, if I can't live with you, I'm gonna leave. Next fuss they had, he got on that water in a ship, I reckon, a boat or something, and come across, and come over here, and
That was your great-great-grandfather, right? Your grandfather.
Her daddy's dad.
Oh, your daddy's dad.
and he was an Englishman, and he couldn't bear the sunshine to shine on his head, and he had to get work to do under the ground, so sunshine would shine on his head, and he wouldn't eat bread that was cooked, was warm. He always had to have cold bread. And Granny, they had bread and molasses, and I think a little something else, I don't know. But Granny always had to pour the molasses. You see, they all got the same amount. That's the way people used to live.
Well, it's a different world, isn't it? Yeah, it is. No, I'm not sure it's any better though, are you?
No, I'm telling you, we had it hard back then, but not too long ago, Pat said to me, since we've been living here and having running water and everything like we've got it now, Pat was living here, and I don't know whether I was fussing with some of the youngins or not, but I think I was fussing about some of the grandchildren, what they was doing. And Pat says, Mama, you are altogether changed. She says, how did you manage to raise 7 children and get along with them like you did? And says, now you all the time are fussing with the grandchildren. I said, well, when I was raising my children, that I didn't have nothing that they could break. Everything was too heavy for them to pull over. And I said, and if one of them got asleep, I said, now people, when the baby gets sleepy or something, they put them to bed. I said, when mine got sleepy, they lay down on the floor and took a nap. And then they get up and go about their business. Well, that's the way it was.
That sound good, Eric?
That was a hard life, Eric.
I had to do everything, cook and tend to the cows and make a hand in the field and tend to all of them children and do the washing, go out and heat my water out in the yard in a pot and wash that dirt out with my hands on the washboard.
I don't believe I can handle that. I'm spoiled too.
We all used to carry water from a spring. Oh, Lord.
Guess we don't know what a hard time is, do
I
we?
think the world's a better place.
Yeah, I reckon you get a point there. Maybe so. Well, I guess you can quit filming if you want to, Kenny. You film Grandma pretty good.
Yeah, you have got a life story now. There's some history in there.
Yeah. See you on there, Grandma?
Okay. All right, we're on.